Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. Deadweight. That's what my wife called me in front of my entire family. But within 90 days, she learned that dead weight doesn't beg to stay, doesn't fight for scraps, and definitely doesn't stick around to be insulted twice. By the time she realized what she'd actually lost, I was already gone, and her desperate calls went straight to a blocked number. Let me tell you how one dinner destroyed a 4-year marriage, because the way it ended is going to satisfy every part of you that's ever wanted to walk away with your dignity intact. The monthly dinner at my parents' house in Evanston had become routine over the past 4 years. Same faces around the same table. My father Robert at the head, my mother Diane to his right, my sister Ginny across from me, and Amanda beside me. The conversation that Friday evening followed familiar patterns until it didn't. We'd just finished the main course when my father mentioned the Hendersons down the street filing for divorce after 20 years of marriage. The table went quiet the way it does when uncomfortable topics surface at family gatherings. Amanda set down her wine glass. She'd been drinking steadily since we arrived. "I completely understand why people stay in bad marriages," she said, her voice carrying that theatrical quality she used when she wanted attention. "Divorce is expensive." My mother glanced at me, then back to Amanda, the kind of look that said she'd noticed something I hadn't yet acknowledged. "Is everything okay with you two?" my father asked. Amanda laughed. Not a genuine laugh. The performative kind she'd perfected over the years. "I'm only with him because divorce is expensive. Honestly, he's dead weight." The silence that followed pressed against my ears. My father's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. My mother went pale. Jenny's eyes widened. They all turned to look at me, waiting for my reaction, waiting for me to do what I'd always done, laugh it off, make a joke, smooth things over. Instead, I stood up, folded my napkin, set it beside my plate with the kind of precision that comes from absolute clarity. "I'll pay for the divorce," I said. "Pack your things tonight." Amanda's confident smile flickered. "Oliver, I was joking. Dad, I'm removing the dead weight." My father reached toward me. "Son, don't be rash. These things can be worked out." I looked at him directly. "There's nothing to work out. She just told you exactly how she feels about me." Amanda's face had gone from confident to confused to panicked in under 30 seconds. "Everyone, he's being ridiculous. It was a joke. Can't anyone take a joke anymore?" I walked to the front door. My mother followed. "Oliver," she said quietly, "are you sure?" I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I drove away from my childhood home with my wife still inside, explaining to my family why her public humiliation of me was somehow my fault. The check engine light on my dashboard had been on for 3 days. I'd been meaning to deal with it. Funny how quickly actual priorities became clear. The house in Rogers Park was dark when I arrived. Our house. My house, technically. I'd purchased it 2 years before we married, but Amanda had spent 4 years acting like it was ours. Acting like everything I owned was ours. I stopped at the hardware store on Clark Street before going home. The clerk didn't ask why I needed 3 new locks at 8:30 on a Friday night. I didn't offer an explanation. Changing locks is simpler than people think. Unscrew the old mechanism, slide in the new one, test it. I worked methodically through the front door, back door, and side entrance. Each lock that clicked into place felt like securing something that should have been protected years ago. I packed Amanda's things without anger or spite. Just efficiency. Clothes in garbage bags because we didn't own proper luggage. Toiletries in a cardboard box. Jewelry in a plastic container. Everything essential sitting in the living room by the time she arrived home at 10:15. She couldn't open the front door. I heard her key scraping in the lock, confusion in the silence that followed. Then the doorbell. Then pounding. I opened the door with her bags already in hand. "Everything you need is here. I'll have the rest shipped to your parents' address." She tried to push past me. I stepped into the doorway, blocking her path. "You called me dead weight in front of my family," I said. "That was a joke. You're being ridiculous." "Then you should have heard me laughing." I set her bags on the porch and closed the door. Locked it. Stood there listening to her ring the doorbell 47 times. I counted. Then she called my phone. I silenced it and watched her name appear on the screen 18 times before she finally stopped. The hotel room near downtown cost $92 for the night. Clean sheets, working television, silence. I slept better than I had in months. Saturday morning arrived with text messages from my sister. 3 of them, increasingly concerned. I called her from a coffee shop on Clark Street. She stayed at Mom and Dad's last night, Jenny said, crying, saying you misunderstood her. What did Mom and Dad say? Dad wants you to cool down and think rationally. Mom hasn't said much. You know how she gets when she's processing. Tell them I'm thinking perfectly rationally. Are you? She's been complaining about me for months, hasn't she? To Mom. Jenny went quiet. That was answer enough. Mom never told me because she didn't want to cause problems, I said. Oliver, it's fine. I'm not angry at Mom. I'm not angry at anyone. I'm just done. We met at my parents' house an hour later. My father tried his speech about marriage being work, about not giving up when things got difficult, about vows meaning something. I let him finish. Dad, I've been working on this marriage for 4 years. While I was working, she was complaining about me behind my back. While I was paying our bills, she was accumulating $18,000 in credit card debt she never told me about. While I was being dead weight, apparently. My father's expression shifted. 18,000. Her debt. Her name. I found out 6 months ago. She said she'd handle it. She hasn't made a single payment. My mother finally spoke. She told me you were controlling with money. I kept my inheritance separate. That's not controlling. That's smart. How much? My father asked. Enough that she thought I was an easy target. Robert leaned back in his chair. Diane watched me with something like understanding. Jenny looked between our parents and me. I need the name of a divorce attorney, I said. Someone who won't waste time trying to reconcile us. Jenny pulled out her phone. My friend's sister just got divorced. She said the attorney was excellent. Patricia Shaw. Has an office downtown. Patricia Shaw agreed to see me that afternoon. Emergency Saturday appointments cost extra, but money spent on freedom never feels like waste. Her office on West Madison Street was exactly what I needed. Professional, efficient, no nonsense. She listened to my situation without judgment, asked specific questions about assets and debts, and smiled when I explained the house situation. Premarital property, in your name only, she said. That's cleaner than most cases I see. My inheritance is separate too. Never commingled. How much are we talking about? 175,000. Her smile widened. She doesn't know about it, does she? She knows I have savings. She doesn't know how much. What about the joint account? 4,000 maybe. Mostly my deposits from the past few months. Patricia made notes on her legal pad. And she has 18,000 in credit card debt in her name only? Correct. Mr. Brennan, your wife thought she married someone she could control. Common mistake. She set down her pen. People who publicly humiliate their partners usually have secrets of their own. Like what? Infidelity, financial misconduct, substance issues. Something that makes them feel justified in treating you poorly. She leaned forward. Do you suspect an affair? I've been too accommodating to notice anything. Let's find out. I have an investigator who's very good at finding what people try to hide. The investigator's report arrived Wednesday morning. I met Patricia at her office to review the findings. Todd Graham, marketing professional, single, regular companion to my wife for the past 8 months. The photographs were thorough. Dinners at restaurants I'd never been to. Drinks at bars in Wicker Park. A hotel in the Loop where they'd checked in together 3 times. These were all charged to your joint account, Patricia said. For $1,200 total. Dinners, hotels, entertainment. I studied the photographs without emotion. Amanda laughing at something Todd said. Amanda's hand on his arm. Amanda kissing him outside a bar on Division Street. How did you feel when you saw these? Patricia asked. Nothing. Should I feel something? Most people feel anger or betrayal. I felt relieved. Vindication. She nodded. That's healthy. It means you already knew, somewhere, that the marriage was over. What happens now? We file Monday. Standard petition. Irreconcilable differences. We include documentation of the misused marital funds. We request reimbursement. I don't want her money. It's not about money. It's about consequences. The papers were served at her parents' house on Monday at 11:30 in the morning. I wasn't there, but Jenny was across the street walking her friend's dog when it happened. She called me immediately. Her mother answered the door. The server asked for Amanda. Claire went to get her. Amanda came to the door in her pajamas. The server identified himself and handed her the papers. You should have seen Claire's face. How did Amanda react? Confused. Then angry. She tried to call you right there on the porch. Numbers blocked. Good. Oh, and Oliver? Her mother looked horrified, like she suddenly understood this was real. Amanda's attorney called Patricia on Tuesday. Patricia scheduled a meeting for Thursday. I wasn't required to attend, but chose to anyway. The attorney was young, fresh out of law school probably. She sat across from Patricia with Amanda beside her, trying to look professional while her client fidgeted and glared at me. My client is willing to negotiate, the attorney began. My client isn't, Patricia replied. Amanda leaned forward. Oliver, please. Can we talk privately? No. Her attorney cleared her throat. Mrs. Brennan is requesting her fair share of marital assets. 50% of the home value and 50% of all savings accounts. Patricia slid a folder across the table. The home is premarital property, purchased by Mr. Brennan 2 years before the marriage. Illinois law is clear on this. Surely after 4 years of marriage. 4 years doesn't change the date on the deed. The house is his. Amanda's attorney opened the folder. Read the documentation. Her expression fell. What about savings? She tried. The inheritance account is separate property, never commingled, also protected under Illinois law. That's not fair. Amanda contributed to the marriage by accumulating $18,000 in credit card debt. Patricia produced another folder. Or by spending $4,200 of marital funds on her affair with Todd Graham. Amanda went very still. Her attorney stared at the photographs Patricia laid out on the conference table. These were all charged to the joint account. Patricia continued. Hotels, dinners, entertainment. All while Mrs. Brennan was telling her husband she was out with friends. The young attorney looked at Amanda. You told me the marriage ended because he was controlling. Amanda said nothing. My client is willing to split the joint account 50-50, Patricia said. $4,200 divided by 2. Mrs. Brennan gets $2,100. In exchange, Mr. Brennan wants reimbursement for the $4,200 she spent on her affair. Net result, Mrs. Brennan gets nothing from the joint account. Each party keeps their separate property. Each party is responsible for their own debts. Clean break. This is vindictive, Amanda finally spoke. I looked at her directly for the first time since entering the room. This is fair. You're trying to destroy me. I'm divorcing you. You're destroying yourself. Her attorney requested a recess. Patricia and I stepped into the hallway. She's going to accept, Patricia said. She has no choice. The evidence is overwhelming. How long until it's final? 90 days after the papers are filed. Standard Illinois waiting period. Good. We returned to the conference room. Amanda's eyes were red, but I couldn't tell if the tears were genuine or performative. My client accepts the terms, her attorney said quietly. Patricia produced the settlement agreement. We all signed. Amanda's signature was shaky. As we stood to leave, Amanda caught my arm. Is this really what you want? I looked at her hand on my sleeve, then at her face. You called me dead weight. This is me agreeing with you. 3 weeks later, I received a call from Gregory Hartley, Amanda's father. He'd never called me before. Our entire relationship had been mediated through Amanda or Claire. I'd like to speak with you, he said. If you're willing. About what? The truth. We met at a diner on Central Street in Evanston. Gregory arrived precisely on time, ordered coffee, waited until the server left before speaking. Claire showed me the divorce petition, he said. The photographs. The credit card statements. I didn't send those. Amanda's attorney did. Trying to prove you're being unreasonable. He added sugar to his coffee. It had the opposite effect. How's Amanda? Living with her sister in Milwaukee. Found a job there. She's your ex-wife's problem now. I'm sorry this happened. I'm not. He met my eyes. My daughter has been lying to us for years. About you, about her life, about who she is. You did us a favor by documenting the truth. That wasn't my intention. Nevertheless. He sipped his coffee. Claire wanted to reach out to you. Apologize. She's too embarrassed. There's no need. There is. We sat at your parents' table and watched our daughter humiliate you. We should have said something then. Would she have listened? No. But we should have tried. He set down his cup. I wanted you to know we don't blame you for any of this. And if you need a reference for anything, professionally or otherwise, I'm available. Thank you. And Oliver, you handled this with more dignity than most people would have, including me. He left cash on the table for both our coffees and walked out. A week after the settlement meeting, I stopped at a coffee shop in Lincoln Square. The barista knew my order: black coffee, no sugar. Routine felt good after weeks of chaos. Oliver. Oh my God, hi. I turned to see Melissa, one of Amanda's friends from her previous job. She rushed over with her latte, all smiles and enthusiasm. I haven't seen you guys in forever, she said. How are you? How's Amanda? We're divorced. Her smile collapsed. What? When? Papers were just signed. But you seemed so happy. What happened? I considered my options: polite deflection or honest truth. She called me dead weight in front of my family. Turned out she'd been having an affair for 8 months. Melissa's coffee cup stopped halfway to her mouth. Todd. You knew? I suspected. She was always texting someone. Always had excuses for where she'd been. She sat down at my table uninvited. I should have said something. Would it have mattered? Probably not. Amanda doesn't listen to anyone. She paused. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I always thought you were too good for her. Then why stay friends with her? We're not anymore. She borrowed $300 from me 6 months ago. Never paid it back. When I asked about it, she said I was being petty. Melissa shook her head. She's not the person I thought she was. Join the club. She finished her coffee in silence, then stood to leave. You deserve better, Oliver. I hope you find it. I already did. I found myself. The next week brought an unexpected visitor to my door. Claire Hartley stood on my porch holding a casserole dish covered in aluminum foil. I know this is strange, she said before I could speak. May I come in? I stepped aside. She entered slowly, looking around the house as if seeing it for the first time. Amanda told me you redecorated, Claire said. She was upset about it. It's my house. I know that now. She set the casserole on the kitchen counter. Chicken and rice. I remember you mentioned once that you liked it. That was 4 years ago. I remember a lot of things I should have paid attention to. She turned to face me. I came to apologize. Not just for the dinner. For all of it. For believing Amanda's version of events without question. For treating you like the problem when you were never the problem. You were her mother. You were supposed to believe her. I was supposed to be discerning. I wasn't. She pulled out a chair and sat without asking permission. May I tell you something? I nodded. Amanda has always been difficult. Even as a child. Everything was everyone else's fault. Every failed friendship, every lost job, every disappointment. We enabled it. Gregory and I. We made excuses. We paid her debts. We convinced ourselves she just needed time to mature. Claire's hands twisted in her lap. She's 30 years old and still blaming the world for her choices. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserved better. You deserved honesty. And I'm trying, very late, to give you that. She stood. The casserole is just chicken and rice. Not an apology. Not forgiveness I don't deserve. Just food from someone who wishes she'd been a better person. After she left, I put the casserole in the refrigerator. I ate it for dinner that night. It was good. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday in July, 90 days exactly from the filing date. Patricia called to confirm the judge had signed the decree. How does it feel, she asked. Like putting down something heavy I'd been carrying for years. That's exactly what you did. I hung up and looked around my house. My house. Legally, unquestionably mine. I'd repainted the bedroom, replaced the couch Amanda had insisted on buying, removed every photograph that included her face. The space felt larger somehow. The Monday after the papers were filed, I returned to work for the first time in a week. I'd taken personal days without explanation. My manager hadn't asked for details. Welcome back, Brian said, stopping by my desk with coffee. Everything okay? Getting divorced. He nearly dropped his mug. Jesus. I had no idea you were having problems. Neither did I until she announced it at a family dinner. That's brutal. It was efficient. Brian sat on the edge of my desk. Do you need more time off? We can cover your projects. I need to work. Sitting at home thinking about it doesn't help. Fair enough. But if you need to talk, I'm good. He nodded and left. 3 other co-workers approached throughout the day with similar offers. I gave them similar responses. Work became a refuge. Problems I could solve. Tasks with clear outcomes. Numbers that balanced or didn't. At lunch, I ate at my desk instead of the break room. Fewer questions that way. Fewer sympathetic looks. Fewer stories about someone's cousin who went through a divorce and came out stronger. I didn't need their stories. I was writing my own. A month after the settlement meeting, I met an old college friend for drinks. Carson and I had lost touch after graduation, but reconnected through a mutual friend's wedding invitation. Marriage ending? Carson asked after I explained my situation. Brother, I've been there. 3 years married, 2 years fighting about why we got married in the first place. How did you know it was over? When I realized I was happier at work than at home. When coming home felt like a chore instead of a relief. He signaled the bartender for another round. You know what nobody tells you about divorce? What? How much energy you waste trying to fix something that was broken from the start. All that effort you put into making it work? Imagine if you'd put that into literally anything else. I keep thinking about the time I wasted. Stop. You didn't waste time. You learn what you don't want. That's valuable. Expensive lesson. Cheaper than staying. Carson raised his glass. To knowing when to walk away. We drank to that. 4 months after the divorce, I ran into Amanda at Whole Foods in Evanston. I was picking up groceries for a dinner party Jenny had convinced me to attend. Amanda was alone in the produce section, looking thin and tired in a way that suggested more than just physical exhaustion. Our eyes met across the organic apples. She froze. I nodded and continued shopping. She followed me to the checkout line. Hi, she said. Hello. You look good. Thanks. I heard you're doing well. I'm fine. She shifted her weight from foot to foot. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. Okay. That's it. Just okay? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. Her voice cracked. I've been in therapy. Working on myself. Trying to understand why I did what I did. Good for you. Oliver, please. Could we maybe get coffee sometime? Just to talk? No. Why not? Because there's nothing to talk about. We're divorced. That chapter is closed. But don't you want closure? I paid for my groceries, picked up the bags. I have closure. I got it the day the judge signed the decree. I've changed. That's good. Change for yourself, not for me. I walked toward the exit. She called after me. Do you hate me? I stopped, turned back. I don't feel anything about you at all. And that's exactly how I want it. 2 months into the 90-day waiting period, I found myself in the attic sorting through boxes I'd avoided for months. Wedding photos, honeymoon pictures. For years of accumulated memories stored in cardboard and dust. Jenny had offered to help. I declined. Some tasks require solitude. I pulled out our wedding album first. Amanda in white, smiling at the camera with that practiced expression she'd perfected. Me in my tuxedo, looking genuinely happy because I'd believed in the moment. That version of me felt like a stranger. I flipped through the pages without emotion. Our first dance. Cutting the cake. Toast from friends who'd since disappeared from both our lives. The whole production had cost $18,000. Amanda's parents had paid for most of it. I wondered if they regretted the investment. The honeymoon photos were worse. Beaches in Mexico. Amanda posing for Instagram. Me taking the photos, always behind the camera, never quite in the frame. Even then, I'd been background to her main character. I separated the photos into 2 piles. Pictures of me alone or with family went into a small box. Everything else went into garbage bags. 3 bags full of memories I didn't need anymore. The wedding dress was still in the spare closet. Amanda had left it behind when she packed. Too expensive to abandon, too painful to retrieve. I called her sister's number in Milwaukee. This is Oliver. Is Amanda available? She doesn't want to talk to you. I'm not calling to talk. I'm calling to tell her she has 1 week to pick up her wedding dress, or I'm donating it to Goodwill. Silence on the other end. Then, I'll tell her. The dress was gone 3 days later. Someone picked it up while I was at work. Jenny had let them in with her spare key. I came home to an empty closet and a text from Jenny. They didn't say anything. Just took the dress and left. Good. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday in July. 90 days exactly from the filing date. Patricia called to confirm the judge had signed the decree. How does it feel, she asked. Like putting down something heavy I'd been carrying for years. That's exactly what you did. I hung up and looked around my house. My house. Legally, unquestionably mine. I'd repainted the bedroom, replaced the couch Amanda had insisted on buying, removed every photograph that included her face. The space felt larger somehow. 4 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Amanda at Whole Foods in Evanston. I was picking up groceries for a dinner party Jenny had convinced me to attend. Amanda was alone in the produce section, looking thin and tired in a way that suggested more than just physical exhaustion. Our eyes met across the organic apples. She froze. I nodded and continued shopping. She followed me to the checkout line. Hi, she said. Hello. You look good. Thanks. I heard you're doing well. I'm fine. She shifted her weight from foot to foot. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. Okay. That's it. Just okay? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Something. Anything. Her voice cracked. I've been in therapy. Working on myself. Trying to understand why I did what I did. Good for you. Oliver, please. Could we maybe get coffee sometime? Just to talk? No. Why not? Because there's nothing to talk about. We're divorced. That chapter is closed. But don't you want closure? I paid for my groceries, picked up the bags. I have closure. I got it the day the judge signed the decree. I've changed. That's good. Change for yourself, not for me. I walked toward the exit. She called after me. Do you hate me? I stopped, turned back. I don't feel anything about you at all. And that's exactly how I want it. The dinner party at Jenny's apartment was smaller than expected. Just Jenny, her boyfriend, and one of her friends from work. A woman named Rachel who laughed easily and asked intelligent questions and didn't seem to need constant validation. Jenny told me about your divorce, Rachel said during dessert. If that's too forward, sorry. It's fine. She said you handled it well. I handled it the only way I could. Still, a lot of people fall apart. Falling apart would have given her too much power. Rachel smiled. I like that philosophy. Later, as I was leaving, Jenny pulled me aside. Rachel likes you. Jenny, I'm just saying. She's single. You're single. She's smart and funny and doesn't have a secret boyfriend in Milwaukee. Too soon. It's been 4 months. Still too soon. When will it be not too soon? I'll let you know. I drove home through quiet streets, windows down, radio off. The silence felt comfortable instead of empty. That was progress. My phone buzzed as I pulled into the driveway. A text from my father. Your mother and I would like to take you to dinner next week. Are you free Thursday? I replied immediately. Thursday works. Should I bring anything? Just yourself. 2 days later, my company held its annual summer barbecue. I'd skipped the last 2 years because Amanda hated work events. This year, I had no excuse. Oliver, glad you could make it. My manager, Susan, handed me a beer from the cooler. Where's your wife? Divorced. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. It's recent. She recovered quickly. Well, you're here now. That's what matters. Food's over there. Games are set up in the back. I filled a plate with burgers and potato salad and found a quiet spot under a tree. Brian spotted me and brought his family over. This is Oliver, he told his wife. He's been handling a tough situation with a lot of grace. His wife, Sarah, smiled sympathetically. Divorce? Yes. My sister went through one last year. It gets easier. So I'm told. Their kids ran past chasing a frisbee. Brian watched them with obvious affection. We've been married 12 years, he said. Best decision I ever made. What's your secret? I asked. Marrying the right person. He looked at his wife. Everything else is just details. Simple truth. The kind I'd ignored for too long. Later, a co-worker from accounting approached. Tina, mid-50s, been with the company 20 years. I heard about your divorce, she said, sitting beside me. Want some unsolicited advice? Sure. Don't rush into anything new. Give yourself time to figure out who you are outside of that relationship. A lot of people jump from one marriage right into another relationship, trying to fill the void. But the void is where you grow. How long did you wait? 3 years after my divorce. Then I met someone who actually deserved me. Are you still together? 15 years this October. She stood and patted my shoulder. You'll be fine, Oliver. You're already doing the hard part. What's the hard part? Choosing yourself. That night, I sat in my kitchen with a cup of tea, looking around the space that was finally, completely mine. The house was quiet. Not empty, quiet. There's a difference. The table Amanda had hated because it was too small for entertaining sat exactly where I'd always wanted it. I'd kept it specifically because she'd hated it. Now it was just my table. No justification needed. For years of marriage had taught me something valuable. Not about love or commitment or compromise. It taught me that self-respect is non-negotiable. That dignity isn't something you fight for. It's something you maintain. That sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from someone who can't see your worth. Amanda had wanted me to be devastated. To beg. To prove I couldn't live without her. Instead, I proved I couldn't live with her. There's a difference. The tea was still too hot to drink. I waited, patient, knowing good things come to those who refuse to settle for less than they deserve. I removed the dead weight. All of it. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. 4 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Amanda at Whole Foods in Evanston. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.